I just wanted to show you on your hand, I hope this is going to be intuitive, as you run your finger down from the inside of your thumb to the middle of your mound, your fingers just stick with your thumb sticks at a point, and that point is slightly tender, is called the L10, and it connects to your lung canopy, which includes not just your lungs, but includes your throat, it includes your brain function. It's a really key point, and I just wanted to, you Patsy in particular for lungs would be very good. This point here, L10, as you're going down the inside of your thumb, it's just on the inside there. And that is opening your lungs. And that point is reiterated when we do downward dog by pressing our thumb mound down, and also by pressing your big toes and feet down. So we'll come to that later. But I just wanted to flag that up with you. And then coming to gentle standing. This is going to be a very gentle practice, but I just want to introduce a couple of points that I'm sure I've introduced before, but maybe not. So when you stand, or when you sit, you've got your collarbone, and underneath the collarbone, if you trace with your fingers, where you can't go any further, you've got the shoulder joint. That's a key lung area. And just pressing there just opens your shoulders and opens your lungs. Now, the lungs, I'm going on about them, but that has a profound effect on your internal organs. So part of the aging process is drooping our shoulders forward. If you lift and roll your shoulders, which I often sort of encourage you to do, that's opening that point here. There are 2 points encompassed here. There's L1 and L2. And it's kind of, again, where it's slightly soft and tender, just underneath the collarbone. They're quite close to one another. But that opening and lifting and rolling the shoulders has a profound effect, not just on the lungs, but on all the, going down to the diaphragm. You're opening all what they call the gateways or the bridges of the body, going right the way down through to your abdominal area, right to the base. So what is not often explained is if you're blocked at the lower abdominal area, base, sacral area, abdominal organ area, if you're congested here, that's going to have a knock-on effect all the way up through. We're all interconnected. So lifting and rolling the shoulders, a simple movement, is one of the best things that you can do, not only for your lungs and your health. You get more blood coming into your organs, so more blood is carrying more oxygen, but you're also effectively opening the energy pathways upwards into the head and into the brain. So I just thought that was worth reiterating. And then the other thing I wanted to come to, you won't be able to, oh, you can see me. Press your feet down, but spread all 10 toes, then press the feet down, and press on the mounds of the big feet, that L10 point on your foot, press down. And then one further little thing, if it doesn't do your head in, as your feet are pressed down and open, just bring your attention to the back heel, so with the outside of your heel, and just press that outer part of the heel down, and that acts as a spring. It's almost like an internal spring to bring your whole body up. It was something we covered in some training that Nikki and I did yesterday online, out of the States and then forward through to Mexico. It was very interesting. So then, starting, just relax your feet to a comfortable position. Raise one arm, lead with the elbow, hold the back of the head, let the other hand slide down. You're not going to go very far, it's a lateral opening. And instead of looking up, look down. And then tummy in to come up. And just slide down again. I've got my hand sliding down, leading with the elbow, so you're opening here, opening your L1. You're not going to go very far, and look down. If you want to look up, do. Depends how your neck's configured. I'm going to look down, and then slide up and lower that hand. And again, raise the other hand. Hold the back of your head And then just using the other hand as a support, which way you can see me, slide down. And then you can look down or look up. And then just come back up again. And then just lift and roll your shoulders. And do this just leading with the hand this time, or the arm, upwards and coming over, looking either up or down. And see what you prefer, whether you prefer leading with your elbow or leading with your hand. I'm interested in your feedback, actually. You might have muted, so you have to tell me afterwards. If you can say, then do, but so if you've muted, and then coming down. And then release.
Oh, at last.
Oh, Gilly, hello.
And you managed to get in.
You
Sorry.
finally, well done. Go and start.
Having problems trying to get into WhatsApp. Anyway, I won't interrupt. I'll just get on with it. Okay. Sorry to disturb you.
No, that's right. It's lovely to see you. We're talking about lungs. So just very repeating, if you run your finger down your thumb, about where it's soft and tender is something called the L10 point, which is your lungs. We were just literally doing a side-to-side lateral stretch, and we'd opened our toes. And now we're going to go to bring your thumbs together, lift your hands up, and just do a gentle sway from side to side. So this isn't just lungs, this is also opening up the entire body, right the way down to the abdominal organs. You're giving blood, you're giving space for blood to your vessels are being compressed to flood the lower abdominal area, the whole area. So you're also looking at your energetic system. And then just release your hands. And then lift and raise, roll your shoulders. So before we come to the mat, if you take your hand and just bring it to the center of your forehead, imagine this as the root of an upside down tree. So this is where the ground, the earth is, and the roots extend a little bit further. And your tree upside down is all your lungs, but the lungs are extensive. They don't just, the energy fields of the lungs extend way beyond the lungs. It's the heart, it's respiratory, of course, circulatory, again, down to here. So just imagine your upside down tree and opening that tree as you're just lifting up and rolling your shoulders, opening almost like your ground level to let the blood and energy, you're opening your gateway, your lung gateways here that we talked about by the shoulder, just opening everything up. You can further increase that by opening your hands upwards, and this is rotating the arms in their shoulder socket. So again, not a natural position, but you are opening your lungs in one way, but you're also anti-aging, because this stops you slouching forward. When you slouch, you can drop your shoulders, and I'm guilty of that, and then you start to cave in. So just go from side to side. And this practice is very good for balance, centering you, becoming calm and released, relaxed. It will be working through the whole body, though you might not think that. And I'll try and talk you through how we're working through the whole body. And then just come to the center. If you bring your thumbs to your heart center, people tend to call it prayer pose, and there's nothing religious about this at all. Bringing your thumbs into your center and bringing your hands together, which I find quite difficult, the outer little fingers connecting once more to the lung meridians. So pressing your palms together activates your lung meridian energy. Elbows out to the side gives more space for the lungs. But bringing the thumbs into the center stops you slouching. It's hard to slouch when you've got your thumbs pressed in. So in this position, you're in perfect alignment. And before we finally come down to lying on the mat and hugging your knee into the chest, Julie, we'd said, If you spread all 10 toes, press your big toe down and your little toe down and keep that pressure across all your toes, and then very gently activate the back of your heel, your outer heel, just press into that, and that activates a spring, to almost springboard your whole body upwards. It realigns your posture. So if you've got any sagging muscles or sagging bits, uneven footwear, as you would wear on your shoes, your soles, I have to say, starting like this is just a springboard. So then come to bending your knees and come to lying on the mat, however that works for you. And you can choose to have your knees bent with your feet on the floor, hip width apart, or you can choose to just lie totally. We're going to be hugging our left knee into the chest. So whichever movement works and suits you, if I bend my right knee so that my right knee is on the floor, but you can have your right leg straight out on the ground. Just come to relaxing and then bend your left knee into the chest. And while you're hugging your left knee in, just slightly lift your chin a few inches upwards to the ceiling, which we don't normally do. And then lower your chin towards your chest, not a lot. Just slightly move your chin up a few millimeters and then bring it back to neutral. You're just beginning to activate the energy through the back of the neck. And then gently let your head roll slightly to the left or right, doesn't matter. Center and then to the other side. You're just moving your neck in the other direction. And then while we're here, let the head come back to the center. Still holding your left knee, just start to make a very gentle circle with your left knee. You're moving the hip in its socket. If you feel that you'd like to do a little bit more of this exercise and don't want to be restricted by both hands holding your knee, you can let your left knee drop out to the left, put your right hand on your right hip and circle your left knee, just holding it with the left hand, and that gets a wider circle possibility. But it will ever suits you, and then change your circle the other way. Bring your knee back to center. Drop your hands under your thigh, your left thigh, and gently extend your left foot up towards the ceiling. Extend your heel, your left heel, and spread your toes again. Feel that you're standing on the ceiling. Your toes are pressing into something invisible, aiming towards the ceiling. And then just relax your toes. Extend your heel, stretching your toes as much as you would like. And relax. And extend your heel again, stretching your toes, and just explore going into the outer left side of your heel and then the inner side. So you're just oscillating your heel slightly from side to side. And just feel, without the pressure of standing, how your bones naturally align and stack up. And then very gently start to circle your ankle in one direction. And notice, if you think of your big toe as a pencil drawing your circle, notice where you skip on your circle. I skip on a couple of points and it reflects a slight, stiffness or irregularity. And then just rotate your ankle, maybe using your big toe as a guide, like a pencil, to rotate the other way. And then extend the heel and just slide your hand slightly up your leg. You're going into your hamstring and stretching your sciatic nerve. And then very gently bend your left knee into your chest, hug it in, feel the stretch along your lower left side of your back. Your muscles are not being asked to support you, and they're also being given a stretch. You're creating space along your spine, particularly at the base, and then lower your left foot to the floor. And you can either keep the left foot on the floor, knee up, or you can extend the left foot totally along the ground, relaxing the left leg and bringing your focus to your right knee as you hug your right knee into your chest. Most people who are right-handed have a tendency, if they're going to be stiff on one side or the other, to be stiff on the right side if they're right-handed. It represents your active channel, and of course on this side you've got your liver and gallbladder. So in terms of frustration and irritation that we all feel, and depending on how we react to that, that activates that right side. So stress, anxiety, active anger, frustration, irritation, all come down through to the right side of the body. And then just very gently circle your knee, your right knee in one direction. You can hold your right knee with your right hand and open it out to the side if you want to, and hold your left hip. Depends where you want to be, or just keep holding your left knee in with both hands. And just feel the top, the femur moving in the hip socket. So when we walk, that's lovely, but we don't, and it's great for weight-bearing exercise, but we don't actually give the hip or the leg the full rotation within the hip socket that it's capable of moving. And that then creates a subtle stagnation and allows the muscles to slightly stiffen, and stiffening contracts the muscles. Rotate your knee the other way, and when you have a contraction, the muscle subtly pulls the bone in a very minuscule amount, depending on how the hip is located, the top of the leg is located, how the hip, the socket is located in. Some people have a natural tendency for an internal rotation, and some people have, less people, but some people have an external rotation. That exaggerates that posture. And then just very gently drop your hands to support behind your right thigh. And very gently extend your right foot upwards. You can always keep a bend in your knee. And just extend your heel and extend your toes. Slightly push into the big mound of your big toe. So your big toe angles inwards, and then slightly push into your little toe so that your foot rotates outwards. And then come back to the center. And just rotate your heel or your big toe and little toe from side to side, just exploring, placing your foot on an imaginary ceiling, stretching out the bones, stretching out, I mean, your feet reflect points on your reflexology, reflect your body. And then very, very gently extend your right heel and relax your toes or scrunch them in, not giving yourself cramp. Extend your heel. If you do scrunch your toes in, you activate the top of your foot, and that connects into your lymph system and your body. Extend your heel so it starts to boost your immune system, and scrunch in. And then circle your ankle very gently in one direction. And then very gently circle your ankle in the other direction. And then just slide your hands up the back of your leg. It can be a few inches, it can be a little bit further. The wisdom is not necessarily over your knee, just below or above the knee, but just be comfortable. And if you extend your heel, you'll feel that stretch all the way along the back of the leg. If you bend your knee and then stretch it again, you're almost like pulsing the leg upwards. And then bend the right knee into the chest, hug the left knee in to join it, and just gently rock from side to side. Your head can join in as well. You're just massaging across your lower back. And then support the legs underneath as you place both feet down on the ground. Your knees are up to the ceiling and your feet are a gentle hip width apart. Pick up your left foot and place your left foot on your right thigh, just above the knee, and open your left leg to the side, so it's like a figure of 4. And just let both knees sway from side to side. Just a gentle, it's hardly a massage, it's just over your lower sacral area on the base of your spine. And now cross your left leg over your right properly. If you find this is too much, just raise the left knee up again so that it's not quite so much. But legs crossed over, and gently let both knees drift down towards the right. Your left foot might just hold you, and you turn your head slightly to the right. You can open out your left arm. If this is too strong under your arm, then bend your elbow and just your left hand holds your left waist. But opening your left arm out like a book is really opening across that lung area, but is also under your arms, of course, as your lymph nodes, your energetic pathways, still connecting into your immune system, even if you've had them removed. But if that's too strong, as I said, put your hand on your waist, or you can raise your elbow above you like a baby might sleep. And that softens that movement as well. This is a rotation, and it's also opening you up at the base of the spine. But I'm not going to ask you to stay here too long. Bring your tummy or lower your abdomen towards you a little bit. Just put your abdominal control on and protect your lower back as you roll your knees back to the center. Release your left foot and bring both feet to the ground. Make sure you lower your arm. Place your arm or your hands back on your abdomen, just holding your tummy. Just gently let both knees sway from side to side. And then keeping your left foot on the floor, pick up your right knee and place your right ankle on top of your left leg just above the knee, and open your right leg out so that your leg looks like a figure of 4, and just gently wave your knees from side to side. Again, massaging across a very small area of your lower back. And then if that's good for you, cross your right leg over your left a little bit more. You're opening space up at your base of your spine. And again, you think, well, how is that connected? But the base of your spine opens your energy gateways and pathways for your whole body, all the way up through the spine, up to your head. You can stay like this if that's enough for you, but if you want to increase the stretch, let both knees just gently drift over to the left. Your right foot might just touch the ground to stop your descent, but if you're happy to roll right over, you can do. And turn your head slightly to the right, looking away from your knees. Your left hand can hold the right thigh, just rest. And your right hand can once more hold your right waist or open up like a book. That's a very strong stretch under the arms. And if that's too strong, You can also bend your right elbow and have the back of your hand just above you. It's lying rotation. You can feel that you're really, you have movement throughout the spine. And this brings, when we derotate, brings fresh blood to the whole body system, including the head. And then just to come out of that, engage your tummy slightly to protect your lower back, roll back, and then unravel your legs and hug your knees into your chest. And then soles of the feet to the ceiling, but hold your legs inside your thighs. I'm holding the top of my thighs, just almost above my knees. Bend your knees, and as you breathe in, extend your heels away from you. Bend your knees slightly and extend your heels away from you. As you extend your heels, feel the stretch on the inside of your leg. That's called the psoas muscle. Very often it can be lazy or it doesn't activate, and particularly women, bend your heels and extend your heels away from you. And then bend your knees properly, bring them back in. Hug your knees into your chest, and this time hug your knees into your chest. Still hold your knees as you let your knees drift away from you to arm's length. So you're rolling up and down your spine slightly, hugging your knees in towards your chest. And then letting your knees drift away. Hug your knees into your chest. And let your knees drift away. Let your knees drift further away and bring both feet to the ground. And again, your hip width apart, your knees. Place your hands on your abdomen. Elbows are out to the sides. You're opening the space for the lungs. You're opening your breath channels. And just let both knees slightly drift to one side. Your hands massage across your navel. Bring your knees to the centre and let both knees slightly drift to the other side. Your hands are just gently massaging across your navel. This activates into all the acupressure points around your navel as you go from side to side. So it's a very soothing movement, activating or just gently touching on points, at points of the body. All the organs are represented around the navel. If you want to bring in your head movement so that your head moves slightly away from your knees in the opposite direction, you can. This is moving the spine both at the top and at the base of the spine. And then bring your knees back to the centre. Extend your arms down along your side. Bring your elbows in slightly. And we're going to explore opening the lungs again. Just turn your palms upwards as much as you can. So you're opening at the top of the shoulders, you're opening those L1, L2 spaces. And then breathing out, palms down. You're rotating your arms the other way. Breathing in, opening your hands upwards, as little or as much as you like. And breathing out, turn your hands down. And just one more time, opening your palms upwards. And breathing out, turn your palms down. This opening at the arms and the movement that we've done in the hips just lightly touches on something called somatic movement, where the principle is that our aging process stems from the relationship of the limbs as they join the torso, so hips and shoulders. I'm focusing now for a moment on the shoulders. The shoulder has, of course, a movement in it, a rotational movement. If we don't use that, the shoulder starts to naturally drop forward, especially if we sit at a desk. And that slight dropping forward compresses the diaphragm. It's one of the bridges or gateways of our energetic pathways. So it compromises not just our lungs and our circulatory function, but it can start to compromise our abdominal area, all our organ functioning. But it's also the beginning of aging. As older people can tend to come forward, it's their response to life. You know, they kind of they tend to curl in. So opening your arms in this simple movement is a great anti-aging movement. So just worth remembering. And you can have your hands alongside you, as we've got at the moment, or if you want to exaggerate that movement, you can open your palms outwards as your body becomes like a T, and your legs can be flat or they can be bent. And you can open like your T, your palms upwards and downwards. It gives a slightly more open movement of the shoulders, opening up and then opening down. And finally, before we come to seated, bring your arms in, stretch your legs out, bend your elbows, stretch your arms up, and take hold of one wrist. I don't mind which wrist it is, and just pull one wrist like a banana pull. So, and then move your legs slightly an inch in the direction of your arm being pulled. So you represent a banana. So just a big stretch. Come back to the center. If you've moved your legs, come back with your legs. Swap hands so that your other hand is holding your other wrist, and just gently pull on the wrist to stretch under the arm, under the lymph system. If that's too much, just bend your elbow. Move your feet to exaggerate the stretch. Opens the front of your hip. Come back with your hands and your arms. Lower your hands by leading with your elbows, and then hug your knees once more into the chest. Do one more slight rock from side to side. And then come to gently either up to a seated position by rolling up and down your spine, or roll to the side, maybe to the right, away from your heart, but whatever side's available, to come to a seated position, and then to come to actually Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana is soles of the feet vaguely together. Don't worry if you can't get there. There are many versions. So the most extreme version of Baddha Konasana is bringing the heels in towards you and clasping at the front of your feet. That is quite strong. You can sit up a little bit and bring your thumbs to massage the insoles of your feet. That's slightly less onerous. Your feet can go away from you as you sit up more, hold your shins. Whichever version works for you. And the point of Baddha Konasana is to open your inner groin. And in the same way that you've got lymph nodes underneath your arms, you've also got a sprinkling of lymph nodes in your groin area. So this is subtly opening up your lymph system, so your immune system at your lower groin area. And to increase that immunity boost, the Eastern way is to just bounce your knees. So you're not allowing the energy to stagnate, you're just bouncing your knees. And then come to stillness and just rock from side to side. Strangely cathartic. Just note when your tummy starts to engage to pull you back. You're rocking slightly from side to side on your sit bones. So you're just shifting the energy around here. And then come into an easy pose. If your knees are a bit dodgy, I don't think anybody's are actually, but if they are, then you just sit with your leg back. But otherwise, come into a gentle easy pose or a cross-legged position. And just continue holding your shins support you, rocking from side to side. Just as you rock, be conscious of squishing down. So try not to squish down towards the side that you're rocking, but by lengthening your spine. Not easy, just an awareness point. And then as you rock to one side, slide one hand out. Maybe lead with your elbow to open once more laterally. You can hold the back of your head and explore whether you like to look up to your elbow or whether you like to look down to your hand. Either is good. It opens different parts of your shoulders and your neck. So whichever works for you. Tummy comes in slightly as you slide your hand up. And then, of course, we come to the other side. Leading with the elbow, it's less onerous, and it allows you to open your elbow backwards, opening laterally. Your other elbow can come to the ground or not, depends where you want to go. And you can either look up, chin in, or look down. It's a lateral stretch. And then pressing your hand down to support you to come up. And then very, very gently, place your fingertips in front of you. Again, I'm not looking for you to come very far. Breathing in, lengthen your spine, tummy slightly in, and just tiptoe your fingers out in front of you. You might just come a few inches. Your chin starts to come slightly in, which extends the back of your neck. Not very far. I can imagine Patsy getting right down on the ground. You can do that, but you're literally just coming a little bit forward, lengthening the spine. This has a very calming effect on the nervous system. And we're just going to stay here for a moment or two. And then tummy in as you walk back. Place your hands on either your knees or on your shins. And sit up a little bit. Breathing out, roll down, chin comes to chest. Inhaling, sitting up. Not a lot, because otherwise you'll put strain into your lower back, but just enough. Breathing out, chin comes to chest. You're opening the vertebrae at the back here, of course, and that encourages breath coming to the back of the lungs. Inhaling, sitting up. And breathing out, rolling down, chin to chest. And breathing in, sitting up slightly, and rolling down, chin to chest. Come back to neutral. Support your knees and legs by your hands as you lift your knees up. And then come to kneeling on the mat. So we're going to come into doing the same position that we've just been doing, cat-cow. But just come to kneeling, your knees are hip width apart. Your hands, again, you're activating your lung. That point halfway down, that tender point here, as you press the thumb round into the ground. And just make sure that your fingers are spread, but particularly your thumb and your second finger. And when I say adopting a neutral position, I mean that the back is neither bent nor is it rounded. It's just neutral. And just rock slightly from knee to knee. You're beginning to activate the energy in your lower back, your abdominal area. Rockabye baby. If you want to increase the side-to-side sway, you can. If you want to begin to make a figure of 8, you can. You might want to make a figure of 8 tracing your nose, or just imagine your bottom moving like in a figure of 8. And how far you want to move it is up to you. You might want to swell right down to it. Your bottom comes into your heels and up and round. The freestyle movement. Your knees and hands support your torso. So again, it's very restful for the body to do this.
And also your heart is parallel to the ground. So it's not being asked to pump upwards to your head, it's all running along parallel lines. Come to center as you dip your back, looking either up. If that's not good for your neck, look along that. And breathing out, initiate the movement from the base of the spine as you round your spine, space between the vertebrae, and your chin comes towards your chest. Inhaling, dipping your back, looking either up or along that. Feel the stretch at your abdominal area. And breathing out round your back. Chin comes to chest. This slow, deliberate movement really allows the blood as we carry on breathing in, dipping the back. To get into the abdominal area on major organ functioning. It's restful for the heart as well, breathing out. It's restful for all the organs, they're just not having to work quite so hard. Your muscles aren't being asked to support you quite so much here. Breathing out. You're not diverting energy into your muscles in the same way. Your skeleton is not being asked to support you for the moment, anyway, quite the same way. And then tapping your toes, bringing your bottom towards your heels, walk your hands back, tummy in, lift one knee and then the other, and come to however you need to. Maybe feet go towards your hands, hands towards your feet. Really bend your knees. Your thighs are supporting your torso. Just bring your hands towards your feet, press your feet down, and very gently and gradually roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Take your time. You're asking your body to really do quite a lot. It's got to orientate its blood flow so that you adjust naturally upwards. And then just lift and roll your shoulders and come towards the top of the mat. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Set your pose. Inhale as you breathe in, same thing, hands back. Look up if that's good for your neck. Stretch your fingers. Breathing out, really bend your knees, roll down. And roll down so that your hands become either side of your feet. You're secure. Step or slide your right foot back. Right knee goes on the ground. Your toes are tucked under at this point. Just enjoy the toes tucked under and opening your lung meridians on your right foot. Also enjoy stretching. Your hands are supporting your weight. So your knee here could come beyond a 90-degree angle. Tummy in though, and then just come back so that you are at a 90-degree angle. And slide your left knee back. But once more in cat. Dip your back, looking up or along the mat, and rounding your back, breathing out, chin comes to chest. You can either do that again, or if you want to explore slightly different, just slide your hands slightly in front of you. You're still on your knees, and you come to an up dog, where you're lifting your chest slightly. That's a stronger version, so do cat-cow if that's not good for you. And then come back to me. Maybe slide your hands slightly towards you. And tuck your toes. Really feel the toes, backs of the toes opening. You're boosting your immunity. You can just explore how much you want to open your toes. And then really press your thumb and second finger into the ground. Your fingers are spread. Lift one knee and the other. Come into a very soft dog. Instantly as you come up, you can widen your feet, that's softer. Keep your knees bent. Extend your bottom away from you, that lengthens your spine. And then slightly straighten your legs. Lift one heel. You're going into the metatarsal bridge of your foot, opening your lung meridian, and let that heel relax. Not to the mat necessarily, but just relax. And then lift the other heel. That metatarsal bridge, lungs, and relax that heel, then bend both knees back down to the ground. And slide your hands to the left to give space for your right foot to come up. Bring your hands either side of your right foot. Just again, spread your toes. With your hands supporting your weight, it's easier to do it like this. Spread your toes and just explore how your foot naturally tends to align. Tummy in, tuck your back left toes, lift your back left knee, and step your left knee or slide your left foot towards your right foot. Hands come on your shins, press your hands down, and now lengthen all the way along your back of your spine, from the tailbone to the top of the head, chin in. Breathe out, bend your knees, elbows come out to the side. Inhale, press your hands on your shins and lengthen along the spine. And stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, press your feet down into the ground, bend your knees, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And inhaling, raising your hands, looking up. This time, bring your thumbs towards you and your little fingers are away from you. It's just a subtle different position of the hands, reflect back in the lungs, and breathing out, lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders, clasp your hands behind you, aim your knuckles to the ground, you're opening your shoulders. Just enjoy this stretch, which physically opens your chest. It opens the muscles connecting into the diaphragm, which connect through the connective tissue to the muscles, connective tissue surrounding the heart. So when you really are opening your chest, it's also very uplifting for the mood. There's a difference between uplifting and anxiety. Anxiety is as a spike of stress out, so that lowers your head. This is uplifting generally. Release your hands, place them on your bottom, below your bottom, bend your knees and slide your hands down the backs of your legs. When you get down to the ground, place your hands either side of your feet on the ground and slide your left foot back, left knee on the ground. Keep your left toes tucked under at this point and just enjoy the stretch of opening your lungs, boosting your immunity, and then release your toes of your left foot, slide your right knee back. You're in cat, hands down, inhaling, dipping your back, looking up or along the mat, whichever works. Rounding, chin comes to chest. The chin to chest has an impact on the vagus nerve, so it's calming the nervous system. Inhaling, dipping your back as you look up, and exhaling, rounding chin to chest. Tuck your toes once more. Tummy comes in, connecting to your core, which protects your lower back. You can feel free to move your hands. One knee, then the other. Gently push your bottom away from your wrists to make it easy with your wrists. Widen your feet. Your heels don't have to touch the ground. They can be off the ground. Bend your knees, lengthen your back. Breathing out, just straighten your legs a little bit. Bend your knees. The inside of your elbows sort of aim towards each other. That protects your arms and their shoulder sockets. If you were hypermobile, you really would need to pay attention to that to make sure that you're aligned properly at the shoulder level. And then bending your knees back, down. This time, just bounce the tops of your feet against the mat. So that is activating your lymph on the top of your feet. And then the hands go to the right to give space for your left foot to slide up. Hands either side of the left foot. And just again enjoy stretching forward beyond your 90 degrees, stretching out the hip. Come back to a 90 degrees. So your ankle, hip, knee is aligned. Tuck your back right toes under, tummy in. Lift your back right knee and slide your right foot to your left. Hands along the shin. Press your hands into your shin, lengthen along the spine. Breathe out, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Inhale, press your hands onto your shin, lengthen along the spine. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften your knees. Press your feet into the ground. Remember spreading your toes to support you as you lift up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Inhaling, raising your arms up. Stretch your thumbs back, little fingers forward. Stretch your fingers and hands reflect your feet. And your hands link into your heart. And breathing out, releasing your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. Bring your hands to your heart. And have your feet slightly wider than hip width apart as you bend your knees and come back down to the mat. So that modified version of salute to the sun was working. We've worked up to the heart. We're now working up to the throat area. And this is a very, very gentle throat opening. It happens to be strengthening the lower back as well. But everything here is very gentle. So come to elbows slightly in. Come to being on your elbows. Widen your elbows as you come to lying. Your feet are hip width apart. Chin or back of the neck is long. Palms down alongside you. Just start with a couple of pelvic tilts. That's flattening your back towards the ground and just releasing so that there's a little arch or a little space under your back. Again, flatten the back as if you're going to press your feet down and lift your bottom and then just relax. Pelvic tilt. Again, it's bringing energy to that lower pelvic area. The lower pelvic area links to your foundational energy. So that's out, everything's out. So we're going some way to just balancing that again. And this time, flatten your back to the ground, press your feet into the ground, your big toe and your feet are stretched. Lift your bottom a little bit, chin comes in, bend your elbows, lift your elbows. They can stay lift, hands go up behind you, chin really comes in, lift as little or as much your bottom as you'd like. Breathing out, lower your elbow, lower your back down to the ground. Hug your knees into your chest. Take an in and an out breath. Release your feet back down to the ground, hip width apart. Hands, palms down. Flatten your back, press your feet down, they're stretched out. Lift your bottom as little or as much as you would like. Chin comes in, raise your elbows. Backs of your hands can go on the floor if you get there. Press your feet down. If you go up higher, make sure your knees aren't splaying out. And then breathing out in your own time, begin to lower your back and your arms back down to your side. Vertebra by vertebra. And then hug one knee and the other knee into the chest to recover from that movement. And we'll do this one more time, placing the feet down onto the floor, hip width apart. Palms are down. Pressing down with your feet as you inhale, lifting up your bottom, lifting up your arms. You can be bent at the elbows, chin goes down, arms above you, lifting up as little as much as you would like. You can feel that in the upper leg, quads. Breathing out, lower your arms. Your quads are also implicated in your immune system. Lowering your arms, lowering your back, and having your knees into your chest just to recover from that. The quads are connected to your immune system because the number of white blood cells, or a large number, are manufactured in the long leg bone, in the bone marrow. So the muscle connected on top of that leg bone is very much linked into white blood cells, which links into immunity. So boosting your immunity is to a certain extent stretching that muscle out as well. Just rocking gently from side to side. And I don't often do this, but bring your feet down to the ground and come in your own time. We're not going to spend very long there, but come to roll gently onto your tummy. And when you're on your tummy, come to make a pillow with your hands, with your arms. Your head can be down, or you can make fists, and your forehead can rest on your fist. Knees are apart, and I'm just going to lift my feet and just gently sway my feet a little bit from side to side. How wide you make your knees is up to you. It should feel very releasing on the lower back. And it's putting you into a sort of back bend. If you want to increase that back bend feeling, come to the centre of your feet, lower your legs, lift up on your elbows and slide your elbows slightly back towards you. Hands flat on the ground, you're in Sphinx pose. Just make any adjustment with your elbows. The further away from you, the lower the angle and the more restful it is. The more you bring your elbows in towards you, the greater the angle on the lower back. So it's stronger, but if your back's not good, then you might want your elbows out a little bit. So just look at the floor. In yin yoga, which is not restorative, but it's holding poses for much longer, this is one of the poses where you're looking down and you'll hold this pose for 5 minutes. So it has many benefits. It's a slight back bend, it's one of the movements for health. But we're not going to, it's also calming as you're looking down to the nervous system. It's strengthening the lower back. But then just slide your elbows in towards you. If you don't want to come, we're coming into child's pose. If you don't want to come up like this, I'm going to be pressing my hands down and lifting up into child's. If that's too much for you, you can roll to the side, bend your knees, and then come to kneeling in child's. But if you want to come into the way you come in yoga to, which is quite strong, elbows in towards the body, press your hands down, lift up, and then come into child. So whichever one suits you. Child, have your knees wide apart. You can tuck your feet or have them flat. You can have your hands straight ahead. You can make fists. You can have a bolster to rest your head. You can have your palms upwards. Whatever works for you. We're just going to spend a couple of breaths here. It's calming for the nervous system, releases space along the vertebra. It's quite soothing for the lower back. If you had a headache, it keeps the blood more in the head. So from that point of view, it's quite useful for headaches. There are other techniques for headaches as well. And it's a very soothing, comforting pose, child's pose. But very, very gently come up once more to a seated position. And as you come to a comfortable seated position, imagine a triangle with a little circle in it at your third eye. So we've moved from the throat to the third eye. The third eye connects physically into the pineal and the pituitary glands, and they're connected to our metabolic control. So we're just focusing here. It connects into our hearing. Hearing channels are just above, you follow that line just above the ears here. And then on a non-physical level, connects into our emotional intelligence. So part of our intuition and our knowledge base, obviously our brain as we function on the brain. And just as you close your eyes, focus breathing in and out here. As you breathe in, mentally say to yourself, so. And as you breathe out, mentally say, hum. So is S-O, and hum is H-U-M. Breathing in mentally, so. And breathing out, hum. And as you do that, just bring your attention to the base of your spine and even the space beyond the base of your spine. And this is the base chakra. And I thought that we would just ascribe some different focus this time. So the base chakra links to the element of earth, which we said before, which also links to the sense of smell and to the nose. Saying so, hum, as you breathe in and out and focusing at this lower base chakra. In your mind's eye, just move up inside the spine, just the inside of the spine. A little bit further, it's between that lower point and your navel, behind your navel. So this midway point is the sacral chakra and is very much connected to the sense of water and fluidity, the flow of life. If there is a break in the connection of the flow of life and our inner joy, that's where organs, it's connected to creativity as well, that's where organs can start just stuttering, going out of balance slightly. But the element of water connects to the tongue and our sense of taste. So as you're breathing in and hum as you're breathing out. And then just bring your focus a little bit further up behind the navel, so you're connecting into your digestive system and your digestive juices and the element of fire. But fire and digestion also connects into other areas. It connects into our feet, our movement, but also it connects to our eyes. And I have it's had it confirmed to me, not all surgeons will, but some surgeons have confirmed that if someone has a dreadful upset to their system, and their digestive system would automatically be affected as the muscles tense with the stress and all. The eyes are also similarly affected. One's eyesight is connected into the stomach, into the stomach juices. So the solar plexus is digestion, but also feet for movement and eyes and the element of fire. And then just moving up a little bit further in your mind's eye to behind the heart. And the heart is not easy, or it's not difficult to imagine that the heart, as you just run your hands from the heart across your chest, connects to the hands. So it connects to the skin and the sense of touch. And then moving up a little bit further, you're still breathing in slow and breathing out hum. You come to the very complex throat area. So bring it to simplicity. The mouth, of course, reflects speech in one sense, and the ears connect into that area, elements of the sense of sound, but the element is air. And then you come to the next two energy points. They are both connected also to ether, a refinement of air. The third eye that you mentioned, it overlaps with hearing in the throat. Centre of knowledge and centre of intuition, pineal and pituitary. And then bringing it all together at the top of the head, the crown, the Sarasahara energy point, connecting into ether as well. And this is where the fontanelles are, where babies have that little gap in their heads for a while. It's the last thing to close over. It connects us with all the outside energies, so your higher consciousness, if you will. And then just coming to bringing your hands to your heart. I never chant, but I will invite you to mentally say Om. The vibration of an Om resounds up in the head, and it helps with clearing the head and resetting that whole vibration. So Om, with almost your teeth sort of together, is an added vibration. So bring your hands to your heart, taking a very slight bow for yourself, and then bringing your head to your forehead as a nod to that third eye in your brain, your third eye intuition connection, and then bringing your hands back to your heart again. And an imaginary Om, the vibration. I hope you have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.